And I think a lot of people know that, and you're certainly down on the ground and below the ground. Frank, give us a top line of the activities that are going on across NOAA to keep this country safe.
Sure, and thanks, Luke, and everybody for having me. This is always a great opportunity. I'm glad to kind of talk about NOAA, but in context of the previous two speakers, I think it really fits in, and especially with our partners like FEMA, which we work closely with. I really appreciate the opportunity. So NOAA, from a top line, right, we have a big mission area, right, from the surface of the sun to the bottom of the ocean. There is a lot of science that goes on in that area. And it really spans it spans a number of timescales, right? So you think of kind of the weather forecast, and that's a kind of a daily thing that happens every 6 hours. But really, from severe weather, that's the minutes and seconds, all the way out to policy, which is more of a climate approach, and that could be, seasonal, decadal, and looking over centuries, right? We're looking at really long-term changes in the Earth system. So in there's a lot of science, and it spans, again, that big mission space. And there are a lot of exciting things that we do to keep that going, right? And that's from the field right over to HPC and out to the productization parts. So in the lens of kind of technology and emerging tech, I think the really exciting things that we do really enable the scientists in the field, right? So people, and I'm sure other agencies that have gone or have talked, and we'll talk later, do things out in the field. That's a hard thing. Ted mentioned fire weather, right? A lot of data needs to go to the people who are responding to fires. People have to, understand the weather patterns around fires. That's a lot of data collection. That's a lot of, up to the minute modeling. And there's a lot of advances that go into that. But a lot of the technology around that will, whether it be, how do I extend the meteorologist on the ground's ability to do their job? How do we get information back between agencies, between people responding, all the way out to, how do we prepare people? Like if you're in the New York or DC area, just like Ted mentioned, in the last couple of weeks, you've had to deal with, the fallout of fires somewhere else, right? In Canada and other places. And that happens in the West as well, right? So we've got a dose of things that have happened in other areas. How do you prepare people? How do you tell people that to be aware of these things? So it's kind of an exciting time in that, because a lot of the technology that's kind of readily available to us is now being applied, right? How we can extend computing out to the field in a way that we haven't been able to before, and that takes things like cloud and networking, but it really extends the field personnel's ability to do their job, and things like machine learning and technologies around that area will provide a lot of additional capability, right? So how do we get better predictions? Well, if we can process data, as late as possible in the forecast chain, get that data in at the very last second, we get a better forecast, right? That means a better product for everybody. So a lot of that work that goes on really aids the forecaster, and you can see that from machine learning to things like uncrewed systems, where we can put uncrewed systems in places where you don't want to put people, so they extend the forecaster's ability to do their job and get better data from the environment, and again, that extends across that whole big mission space. So it's an interesting time, and it's an interesting thing to see all this stuff, all these technologies come together and really aid the forecaster, and also aid our workforce, right? In the same way that we want to aid the forecaster scientists, we can use those same technologies to ensure that our workforce can be mobile. They can work from wherever they want to. They can keep things secure, right? So it spans not just the functionality, but also the business aspects of how we do our jobs, and making sure we have a secure environment, making sure that not only the data is safe and trustable for our customers and stakeholders, but also so that we can do our jobs in a really effective way.